As a kid, my imagination was constant. And if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you know that my imagination continues in much the same form. Having said that, there are a series of memories of my childhood that involve my exploration of the wilderness beyond my grandfather's ranch. One of these many adventures, I would imagine turning a corner and discovering a long-lost Star Wars artifact. Maybe it would be the scattered parts of a crashed speeder bike, maybe an abandoned rebel base, or it could be that I turn the corner and find standing in front of me an Imperial Walker, long left to face the cruelness of time. It was, after all, a long, long time ago, but it didn't really have to be in a galaxy far, far away. So today in the Smugglers Room, we're going to explore this childhood memory, and we're going to take yet another cherished toy from my past, and we're going to bring physical form to a fantasy I always wished would come true as a kid. That's coming up. I think of those times that I wanted to be standing at the foot of a full-size walker. Like this. Am I the only one? Have any of you secretly wished you'd turn a corner and this would happen? There was something about this image I wanted to capture. The only way I thought I could do this was in miniature form. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. At first, I wondered if anyone would notice if I built a full-size walker in my backyard. The first obstacle there being my wife, who, as you know, is very understanding with my hobby. But this might be a bit too far. Secondly, the HOA gets frustrated with me if I leave a piece of plywood in the driveway for more than an hour. I see no way they would allow a massive Imperial Walker in my backyard, even if it's only the two-legged variety. So miniature it is. I love building and making in a huge variety of ways. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I get easily distracted. I know, huge shocker, right? Having said that, I want to tell you, if you truly want to escape reality a bit, and you want something to work on that helps you relax, something that you can sit and just create in a small, confined space with limitless opportunities, I might add, then I encourage you to try building a miniature or a diorama. I can't tell you how incredible it is to spend a couple of days working on something like this, and just how satisfying this project has been for me. I'm not saying give up on your room building, prop making, or anything else, because I certainly don't plan to. But when you need a good rest for your mind, but you still want to be creative, you might find this to be the perfect solution. I want to be sure to send our many thanks to the members of the Smugglers Guild on Patreon. The contributions from you members is what allows us to grow and create content. We can't thank you enough, and we're never going to stop thanking you for the generosity of your support. Now, before we go on, I wanted to stop and let you know that I am going to drill and cut into this vintage toy. So if you're one of those that yelled at me the last time I converted a toy, you better stop now. Because going forward, there will be toy violence, and lots of it. You've been warned. The truth is, I have zero issue with the alteration of collectibles. Vintage or new, my philosophy is, it's mine. And the actual monetary value of the collectible is only a value if you plan on selling it. I don't plan on selling my toys. So the argument of taking something of value and ruining it doesn't apply if the intention is never to sell it. Besides, the walker's eyes are incorrect. They need lids in order to make this screen accurate, right? Oh, and I'm also going to weather the out of this toy. So again, you've been warned. A little tip that I learned from watching Nerdforge is that rocks need a variety of color. If they're left simply a shade of gray, ultimately it won't look right. I'm not sure why this seemed like such a revelation to me. I spent so much of my life in the Colorado mountains staring at rocks, and yet it was a true light bulb moment. So yeah, the moral of this story is add color to your rocks. Aside from being easily distracted by other types of projects, I'm also addicted to tools. I'm sorry, I simply cannot help myself. This tool here was no exception. If you're not familiar with this technique or the tool, it's a static grass applicator, and it works by laying down an area with a type of adhesive, in this case, Mod Podge. A PVA glue as your base, the applicator uses static electricity to make the blades of grass stand up vertically. The grass is usually a blend of nylon or polyester fibers that will react with the applicator. The PVA glue then dries clear and you're left with a patch of realistic looking grass. Now, I'm not an expert in this application, and I should have used a variety of types, both dark and light, to give it a bit of depth. However, for my first time, I'm pretty excited with the results. Let's talk a little bit about oil washes. I learned this from watching a lot of Black Magic Craft, and I'm here to say the gospel of oil washing is true, and I'm a believer. I've shown weathering with water mixable oil paints before, many times. Now, by adding a bit of white spirits, that same paint can give you a wash that flows into all the right places, and it's wonderful. This is great for small projects like this, and it's excellent for props and even bigger things like room building. Use several different colors, mix and match, and when you're finished, your project is dried, you can go back with a bit of white spirits and wipe down areas you want to remove. It's absolutely wonderful stuff. Weathering is all about layers. It creates depth in your project. This tip is yet another I learned from watching Blackmagic Craft. I'm going to link his channel as well as several others that influenced this build. Now, basic chalk can be used as a weathering powder. Sure, you can buy weathering powders from a hobby store, or you can buy a set of chalk like this for a lower cost and make your own at will. I was blown away with the results, and I can't wait to use this on other things. Now, this project was just not going to happen without a deep pour epoxy resin river. Say that 10 times. At my grandfather's ranch, I spent many hours wading through the river on my adventures, so this just had to happen. I want to thank my buddy over at Boylei Hobby Time for his recommendations on the type of epoxy, as well as the other advice he provided for me to pour this. The actual process of the resin was really simple and straightforward. My choice in dam material, on the other hand, that's another story. Now, thankfully, I set the project down into a storage bin lid in case I had a leak, which, if my foreshadowing was any clue, I had a leak. It's not always going to work out. Sometimes things are just going to go south. Now we've kind of got a mess to deal with, so I'm going to get this cleaned up and try again. To be honest, I'm sort of thankful it happened. On my first mix, I didn't add as much of the blue as I wanted for the water. This is an imaginary encounter, so I really wanted a vibrant blue water. So thankfully, I chose a poor resin containment material on the first go-round and was able to resolve the issue on the second pour. I'm also going to say to not be discouraged, or to try to avoid something for fear of failure. In the end, I wasted about $20 worth of resin, and I probably wasted another 2 or 3 hours of my time to clean it up and do it all again. That's not awesome, but it's also not the end of the world, and I learned from it. So fear not, my geeked out friends. Don't be afraid to try something you've never done before. I have much to learn when it comes to epoxy, especially when creating turbulence on the surface. I've already seen many better methods than what I chose, and I certainly will experiment with more of those in the future. I think that's true for all of this project. There is so much to learn and so many other things to explore. This has been a much different type of project for us this week. I know some of you may scratch your heads, others are going to shout with their fingertips on the keyboard, "I wish you would just room build, or make droids, or costumes, or something else." And I'm telling you, I love all of those things, and we're never going to stop making any of them. This channel was based on creativity, and I love to explore. I want to try different mediums and work in different scales. I want to take sample of all of it. This week, I just wanted to build a miniature. This world is full of so many things for a maker to create. So explore it all. Take samples of as much as you can. Pull from inspiration around you. Pull something from your childhood memory. Use all of it to create and build something out of nothing. So today in the Smugglers Room, sometimes remembering stuff is just painful.